All right, let's do this. This is the ManFUzed Podcast. I am Kay Lee, audio producer, voice artist, sitting here with my co-host, Ben H.
Good day.
So today on the ManFUzed Podcast, I've heard of some crazy ways to garner attention, but I've never heard one like this, and it involves a GABOON viper, a snake with the longest fangs in the world. We're going to talk about the word monkeypox and its so-called racial undertone. And should our listener get into a relationship with somebody who has abuse in her past? And we're going to close out the show with an unsolved mystery, a cold case. Where is Aunt Melba? But first, we want to give a huge thanks to our listeners.
Absolutely.
We have listeners that have now been established in Europe, all across the U.S. and Australia. We can't thank you
Africa.
enough. Brazil is still hating on us a little bit.
We hadn't broke through the firewall of
We
Brazil.
have not penetrated the firewall of Brazil.
That's all right.
I think we've had one listener.
But seriously, though, we have so much fun doing this, and it's just such a cool thing. You guys are enjoying it. I get feedback all the time from people saying, hey, great job. Keep going. And for us, we love doing it, and we have a great time. We just really appreciate your attention.
You taking the time out of your day to press play on something that we've created, I can't think of a better compliment. So Ben and I have known each other for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And when we get together, chemistry is born.
It's just magic.
It's magic. We could just be sitting around with no microphone and making ourselves laugh for hours. And so when I hit up Ben and I said, listen, I think we need to do a podcast. I need you, dude. And that's where ManFUzed was born.
I thought it was a great idea. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I read a lot. I do a lot. And Kaylee and I always have highly intellectual conversations for us.
And immature conversations.
And immature ones as well.
Yeah. Decades of immaturity. Still going to this moment right now.
Decades of making girls roll their eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So if you have any thoughts, concerns, show topic ideas, drama in your life, share what you got at ManFUzed.com.
Yeah, we read them. We love them.
I weep at night to some of them.
Wonder how our boy is doing that. What was his name?
Damien.
Yeah. How's Damien?
Girlfriend said he wasn't as big.
Yeah,
he wasn't.
Or no, he'd never be number one in the dick department.
Or
that was just a
about?
fact.
Are you talking about? Was it Eric a couple of weeks back who wanted to get pegged? Woo.
I forgot about. I thought I forgot about him.
Yeah. That's an honorable mention right there. We need to send him a bill.
I got nothing against it. It's just not my bag.
Yeah. It's not your man bag. Speaking of, where is your man bag, Ben? Have you given up the man purse?
Of course not. Now I've gotten to the point where I literally lock it in my truck.
Oh.
That way, I only have to carry my keys in my pocket.
Oh.
Yes.
So you come into our studio and you don't have all of your items.
No accoutrements.
No accoutrements. So did somebody insult your man bag? And
No,
are you feeling
actually,
self-conscious about it?
It's interesting you bring it up because there is a little self-conscious aspect occurring right now as it pertains to the man bag. It's about the condition of the man bag itself. It's just getting worn down.
You don't feel it represents the high quality and flashiness.
It's not even flashiness. It's just cool. I don't want it to look dingy. So I found a guy. He's going to repair it for me. And
because this is from Italy, so it's worth saving.
Oh, this thing, I want to wear it out over the next 20, 30 years. But it has to be held together tightly.
Yes, you're right. You can't be losing shit.
No, I'm definitely not off the man bag. I'm actually more into it now than ever because I'm learning how to pack it.
It's like you're going
Is it more efficient to put the wallet in the front or the wallet in the back?
Yeah,
should the keys go with the wallet or should the keys go with the phone? There's two distinct pockets.
You should ask your wife who has a purse, who has been using a purse all of her life. She should probably be able to. But then again, some women's purses are complete nightmares.
Yeah, for me, it's all about organic growth, just like the podcast.
Okay, that's what we're going for here. All right, so today I
would like a lizard skin one.
Oh, that would be good.
Black
lizard skin. I want our diamondback rattlesnake.
With the rattlesnake head. Oh, dude, speaking of which, I was with a good buddy of mine this past weekend. We went and stayed at their home for an evening. We were talking about how scary snakes were.
Back at the river house, which we detailed a few episodes back, that Ben's wife had a encounter with a potential poisonous water moccasin.
Definitely poisonous. This person, I've invited him to come on the show. The owner.
Oh, I would love to have him on.
He had a pet rattlesnake that he used to take around town with him.
Shut the fuck up.
He had a pet GABOON VIPER.
Shut up.
And he had the venom glands disconnected, but the snake didn't know that it had its venom glands disconnected.
I didn't know that you could disconnect the venom gland. A GABOON viper, those things are sick.
He said he'd take it places and it would curl up, and he'd like take it in stores.
Shut
And it would curl up and get like this and start rattling.
Does he have
and
pictures?
People,
Did he
he
show
said
you
people
pictures?
losing their fucking mind. And then he said he could go and pick it up while it was rattling.
And does he have pictures of this motherfucker?
I'm sure somewhere, dude.
Let's get West on.
Let's get West on.
Oh, there he is.
Ben.
Wes, I was wondering if you might maybe find a good place and stop for a minute. I've got you on the ManFUzed podcast right now with Kaylee.
What's up, brother?
We're live, and we wanted to talk about the pet snakes.
Pretty blown away by the story Ben just told me about this viper that you had as a pet snake. So you had two of them, two different snakes.
Yeah, at different times I had two different snakes.
Why not a
First one
ferret?
I had-
Why didn't you just get a ferret or something like that, West? I mean, you're a manly man. I mean, like you have bigger balls than the both of us. Like, hey, I want that poisonous viper to hang out with.
Well, the thing is that's a snake is a cool pet. And when you're in college, you want to be perceived as cool as possible.
That's pretty
And I
badass.
thought, those were cool. I mean, like
They are fucking cool.
Pretty fucking cool.
Oh, yeah, dude.
both of them had their fangs. The GABOON viper has the longest fangs of any snake in the world.
They do.
Wow.
And it's in the top 10 deadliest snakes in the world, too. So the GABOON viper has over 2-inch long fangs.
And they have
Wow.
kind of horn-like looking things on the top of their
They
head.
got like a horn on. Yeah, exactly.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. And they have crazy patterns. Like their colors
Yeah.
are amazing. It looks like there's like a form of tile
Yeah,
or
it's
something
crazy.
like that. That is nuts. So you bought the snake and had its glands disconnected?
I don't even remember how I met this guy, Dr. Blankenship at Auburn University, big vet school. I met this guy and I told him what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to get these poisonous snakes, but I want to be able to handle them. I'm still going to be able to feed them, like they don't really need their venom, but I want to be able to hold these poisonous snakes and like show them to people like a normal snake. And I said, can you give them like a snake vasectomy?
Oh my God.
And then he's like, yeah, I think I can do that. And he did this on a couple of snakes that I had. The first one being the Western Diamondback. Tell you what's crazy is neither one of these snakes ever tried to bite me.
That's amazing, dude.
They didn't know that they were fixed.
Do you have like a place in your mind when you would go to pick this thing up? First of all, I don't care. I just probably wouldn't do it. I don't know. I mean,
I wouldn't fucking do it.
but in order for me to do that, like if someone had a gun to my head and said, no, you're picking that snake up.
Well, you would just go on everything
I
you've
would
seen
be
on
so
TV.
on alert.
Well, you would try to do it, get them behind their head and fucking hold their mouth down and but it's getting to that point,
But Wes is talking about, I mean, this thing was his friend. I mean, he just crawled up on him like Adam and Eve.
Just like
You're
a
all clear.
vasectomy, there is a small chance
We think.
that it could grow back. Like they still have poison, they still have fangs. So there was always that chance. But I tell you, the coolest thing that I ever did in Auburn, what was really popular was these CD stores where they would sell like used CDs, or you'd take your CDs in there and change them out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they rip you
Coolest
off.
place in town.
Yeah, they'd rip you off. They'd
Yeah,
give you 5
I
cents
knew
for a
these
seat.
guys, so I was like, I'm going to scare the fuck out of these guys. So I took
Yes.
that rattlesnake in there and I put it on the counter, and that thing coiled up because it's an unfamiliar place and started rattling, dude. All the people in the store about shit themselves and ran out of the store. And I could pick that thing up and it'd just be rattling, man. It had probably like a good 10 rattles on it. But
That's badass.
So it'd be curled up in your hand, like rattling.
yeah.
Like, don't come near my master,
How
motherfucker.
big was he? I mean, like, how long? Yeah. Well, did you ever feel that he was protecting you?
No, man. I just felt this thing was like, doing what it did. I'm just
so
surprised
scary.
I never got bit.
Not even a dry bite.
Not even a nibble, man. These things were like...
Well, he knew you as his friend. He befriended you, and you befriended him. So why would you bite your friend? I wouldn't bite Ben. He's sitting across from me.
I don't think you can befriend a reptile, dude. I don't think their brains work that way.
Well, you did, apparently. You're like a snake whisperer.
Yeah.
Maybe so. I think it's just... Here's what I do think. I think that animals sense fear.
Yeah.
You put off a certain smell, you act nervous, whatever.
So I'd probably get bit the shit out of me.
Yeah, because you'd shit your pants and he'd smell
be like,
that.
I'm so scared, and then he'd bite me.
Absolutely.
And Wes would be like, hey, what's up, bro? Come here.
Yeah,
and he'd just be like, all right, cool.
Come here, little fella.
Well, I'll feed you a rat.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you have a bunch of snakes to tame in your own yard up in the mountains.
We have come across a few snakes up there. I've tried to catch them. Something changes. Your sense of self-preservation becomes a little stronger.
You
realize your mortality.
Yeah.
And so...
We all become a little bit more like bitches. All of us.
Dude, I don't know that I would just grab a random snake that could be a water snake or could be a water moccasin.
Yeah.
Because they look very similar.
Yeah.
I don't think that I would do that.
No.
At this point in my life, I would have to know that it was a non-poisonous snake.
I've heard of good ways to attract attention and chicks, but that is great.
Well, we appreciate your time.
Call me anytime. I love it.
All right,
Awesome.
homie. Talk to you soon.
All right, guys.
Be good, brother.
Later, man.
Dude, he's a pimp.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. He's a pimp.
Guy's a beast.
Yeah, he is a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have never thought of that angle.
It's insane, man.
Yeah. I mean, to have a GABOON viper.
Viper, yeah.
It's a fucking viper.
2-inch fangs.
Yeah.
As a
Longest
pet.
in the world.
As a pet.
Yeah. Just the simple fact that he was like, okay, I want to have its glands disconnected from its fangs so it can't.
Well, he said he just happened to meet the guy that worked at the veterinary school at Auburn who told him he could do this. Done. I'll take a rattlesnake.
Where the fuck does he get it?
Hell.
Like, where do I even go to buy that?
I don't know. I guess you can probably buy them.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. You could probably order them. I don't even know that those are indigenous to this area.
Oh, yeah.
A GABOON viper?
No. Rattlesnake.
Well, rattlesnakes are all over the
GABOON
US.
viper, that's more of an exotic situation.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, what a freaking crazy thing.
Yeah,
What if
man.
somebody had like a black mamba
Oh, I'm sure they do. It could be your neighbor.
and like kept it in their house?
I'm sure they do. It could be your
Dude.
neighbor.
I can't handle that kind of shit, bro. I'm scared of snakes.
You know what? The world is becoming a bunch of fucking pussies.
In broad terms, yes.
You can't say anything anymore.
You can.
Well, right, but you're going to get ousted.
By
you're going to get
who?
stoned.
Yeah, and that's my whole thing. By who? But there's the fear
Of what?
I'm just saying, you're right. The fear is present.
Public
Scrutiny, the fear of public scrutiny by
But it's to
whoever
the point.
could put you on blast
so
that it would matter.
we talked about this on the show.
Yeah.
COVID, some of the media attention has gone away and focused on other things,
Yeah.
and it's coming back because cases are rising.
Right.
But then it was monkeypox.
Monkeypox.
A global concern.
Yes.
Cases of monkeypox are rising.
Right.
And instead of figuring out,
Right.
okay, how to keep people from getting monkeypox,
Yes.
now we are looking at it from a racially charged perspective.
Yeah.
So now monkeypox,
Right.
the name of it,
Yeah.
is offensive.
Well, and now it's up for like debate of what should the name be.
Cockpox.
Well, they're basically saying it's a sexually transmitted disease for the most part. 95% of the cases, sexually transmitted disease, and namingly in the male homosexual community, the
Correct.
gay community, right?
Right.
I guess male or female can be gay, so we'll say guy on guy.
Homosexual males,
Yeah.
guy on guy. That's one way to paint a picture, Ben. Man
the guy on guy
man.
community.
Right.
I'm trying to be PC here.
Okay, you're doing very well.
So the guy on guy gay community is where most of this is coming from, apparently. Okay.
But why is it turned into a race thing? Because the word monkey
Yeah.
has been used as a derogatory term towards the African American community.
Yep.
Not monkeypox, just the word monkey.
There's a negative connotation. Racist people say those kinds of things. Name is up for debate now. There's an opening
Because
to take the place of monkeypox.
Right.
Because a certain demographic is feeling offended
correct.
by the name. But it came from monkeys.
Right. So normally, when other diseases or viruses, they normally get their names from the origin, the place, the animal, where it occurred.
Right.
So if it came from a fucking monkey, why can't you call it monkeypox?
Or a lion, then you could call it lion pox.
Right. I mean, or
People
a
would
rat.
probably like that
Rat
one.
pox.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Cock. It came from a cock. So we're calling it cock pox.
Well, I mean, that's probably more of a literal definition of it in a sense, although it does cover your whole body. I saw a video of a guy with it, and he was like, it looked horrible, dude.
Oh, dude, it looks brutal. You get that, you're going to be scarred for fucking life.
Oh, it's horrible looking.
Yeah, it's nasty. COVID, you can't see it. This is like bubbles and boils on your skin that
all over.
I guess they swell till they pop.
What do you think it should be called?
I think it should be called what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
monkeypox was a big time, name. That caught fire immediately.
Monkeypox. Look at the bigger picture. Get your sensitive ass out of here. This whole let's change the name,
Social
let's change
justice,
history. No, history is never pretty. I mean, most of it hasn't been. Not when it comes to this country. I mean, you can go back to, or any country. There's a lot in history that was unjust, unfair.
And untold. Who tells history?
That's how we've evolved to where we are today.
Hopefully. Hopefully in truth. Pope just said there's no hell.
What?
Yeah.
Say what? Pope John
just said there's no hell, dog.
Man, what the fuck does he know? No,
exactly.
I'm living in it. How does he know? He doesn't know where I live. That's how you learn is, okay, you look at history and it's unsavory. Fuck, we're not that anymore.
Right.
We've evolved.
Right.
We're better. We're nicer.
Absolutely.
Well, we try to be. I mean, for the most part, I'm not proud of our history in many senses. Like, I'm not proud of having slavery. People were a product of their times.
Well, and in slavery, people were the product.
At what point are we going to draw the line? I guess never, because now that we have this culture of being like, oh, you can't say that. Now, I'm not promoting racist, slurs, but dude, no one is naming monkeypox because of a race.
Yeah.
It's named after its fucking origin.
The monkey?
The monkey.
What's another word for monkey?
Orangutan.
Primate?
Primate.
Primate pox.
I like that. It's kind of got a ring. Primate pox.
We should submit that.
But I'm talking about just in general. Like, we're talking about monkeypox right now, but I'm talking about overall reaching. No, everything someone says has a racial undertone. Well, it doesn't.
Yeah, but you have to look at it, dude. I mean, these are all tools used to control those of us that are on the lower rung of society. And I don't care if you're worth $100 million, you're on the lower rung of society. So all of us that are out here in society, throughout the world, we are fed these narratives to keep ourselves against one another. It could be race, it could be gender, it could be sexual orientation. All of these things with the racism, sexism, all of the bigotry and so forth that is advertised and people are attacked for. These are things that are put down by our betters, quote unquote, the ruling class, to keep us arguing with each other, dude. These people that have been around ruling the world for the last couple thousand years, they're no different than we are. But one thing that they do is they control. I just think that all of these things are mechanisms used on society to control society. That's what I think racism is. Not that it's not real. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm saying it was created. And it was created by a ruling class of people. And it's been that way all the way back through history. If you look at history, it's always been the ruling class of people who are coming down upon the common class of people. It's no different today. If I can make American people hate other American people, then I can do whatever I want.
Right, and they just bicker amongst themselves.
If it's black and white or Asian and black or freaking, Latin and Asian or whatever. I agree with you, and I think that the term was intentionally put out that way so that it could be race baited after it got really popular, and it would spark a debate on race and how racism is not a thing, or it is a thing, or this is racist, or you're racist because you even said you know what I'm saying? And so it's intentional. I mean, the whole thing to me pre-planned.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm not saying I'm a fan of Tucker Carlson. I'm not saying I'm a fan of Fox News. I personally think Fox News, CNN, they're all spinning their own narrative that meets the type of media they're promoting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do find comedy in some of the shit that both of these networks say.
I do too. I like people who speak for what they believe, whether it's what I believe or not.
Monkeypox is about the coolest name ever for a disease. Can't come tonight, I got the monkey. But they are changing the name because racism or something. Well, for once, we don't know who they are. We're not going to allow it. We're going to change the name this time. We're going to do it with the public's help because democracy is real. So we had a vote. There was no ballot harvesting. You can trust our counting. And the new name for monkeypox is now officially, and we're declaring it, Schlong COVID. That won our audience election with about 40% of the vote.
Schlong COVID.
I got that Schlong COVID, dog.
But doesn't that mean now the gay community, who this disease is primarily affecting across the board,
right,
is going to be offended?
Of course.
By Schlong COVID.
Absolutely. That's the way they do it. Let's put it on something that's going to offend African Americans. Then we'll just move it right on over to the gay crowd since it's primarily a gay sexually transmitted disease. Wonder what it'll be after that.
Schlong COVID. It does have a nice ring to it, though.
Schlong COVID. I wonder what it'll be after Schlong COVID runs its course.
I don't know. We'll have to have another
see how
topic.
It mutates.
It's awful. So we have a listener that has asked us for a piece of relationship advice, Ben.
Oh, good.
Another person has come to the ManFUzed podcast for it.
Send your questions. We love them.
We do. Go to ManFUzed.com. This listener, Daryl, lives in California, and he wants us to weigh in on this topic. How we honestly feel about dating somebody seriously who comes from a previous abusive relationship. From what I am to understand, emotional abuse sometimes is even worse than physical abuse.
Yes.
Because physical abuse you can see.
Right.
You can see bruises, you can see the destruction on your body that has been done to you.
Right.
Where emotional abuse are like cuts that you can't see.
Right.
And so getting treatment and getting help for that can be a whole nother ball game.
Yes.
How do I feel about getting into a relationship with somebody who has been abused, whether it be verbally or physically?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I would run, but...
How would you know, though? I mean, that's the whole thing.
Sometimes...
They would have to tell you, basically.
Well...
Hey, listen, just want to let you know, this is something that happened to me in a past relationship, and otherwise you wouldn't know.
Well...
Right?
Eventually you will, because you'll be able to see it.
But I'm just saying, I wonder if this person is talking about, like, they just met somebody. I mean, do they give some detail? Do they just meet them?
They didn't specify.
Yeah.
So you got two rules of thought in my mind.
Right.
This person, you're getting to know them. You either see the signs of it.
Yeah.
Because of how they act, or they have started to open up. Because typically when you start dating somebody, you're going to talk about their ex. They're going to say, oh, my ex. And whether they're trying to not give you too much information.
I don't want to know.
Right. But they're going to open up. You're going to see clues.
Right.
If this person is actively working on it, they know that some people might not even realize the damage that's been done to them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I think we're all a victim of physical and emotional abuse, both of them.
but to different extremes.
To different degrees and extents. But yeah, I think that, understanding that about someone as part of who they are, and also understanding, are they a victim of that abuse, or are they taking steps to get through the effects of it? Do they look at it as something that made them stronger?
Or something that's holding them
or
back.
More mature? Or do they look at it as something that's holding them back?
Well, because the last thing that you want is to have that person drag the abuse into your relationship. Are they going to act out what has been done to them in previous relationships on you?
Right.
Are they going to make your life a fucking living nightmare?
Yeah, like trust issues.
Trust issues, verbal abuse,
Right.
insults. That shit starts off under the radar.
Right.
And it can get real nasty once you have committed yourself to somebody where you don't
Absolutely.
want to walk away. Maybe there's kids involved. Maybe you see effects it's having on their children.
That's right.
Maybe you might even be getting with somebody who's already got kids from a previous
Yeah.
emotional or physical abusive relationship.
Yeah. I say go for it. Drink whiskey, smoke some weed.
I would say
cautiously.
proceed cautiously. If this person is self-aware, which
Yeah.
a lot of people are not.
Yeah.
They're not self-aware of how their actions affect other
Yeah.
people, how their moods affect other people.
Right.
And if they're not self-aware and you're going to try to point stuff out to them and they're not going to want to
Yeah.
hear it, you might want to run for the fucking hills.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to deal with. The longer it goes, it gets more and more difficult to deal with because, people become set in their ways. So you might think, hey, this is something that eventually I'll be able to work out, or eventually I'll be able to fix them, or eventually kind of a thing. And
Eventually they'll get the help they need.
right. And the truth is that it just gets worse over time if they don't. So you just have to know that. And the likelihood that they will is small because at the end of the day, it does require self-reflection. It does require taking ownership of the situation.
And it requires reliving that trauma
Right.
to get help.
Right.
I mean, going to find help will be an uncomfortable
Yeah,
process.
absolutely.
And then nonetheless showing up and
Yeah.
paying
Right.
money
Yeah.
for the help that some people might think they don't even fucking need.
Yeah. And sometimes too, man, people's bad sides bring the best out of the collective, Like I think in some way we're all kind of fucked up.
We
you know
all,
what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. No
And-
one's perfect and we all have baggage.
And so your significant other ultimately is going to have baggage no matter what you do. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be maybe they were cheated on, or maybe someone walked out on their life. Maybe they were physically abused. And all of those are horrible things that happen. And something about, accepting someone as they are and hopefully being accepted as you are, and then working together to overcome those things. A lot of times we're attracted to people from a solution perspective.
That are broken.
Yeah. And maybe they could help me fix my shit. I know I don't have it all together.
I will give you a hint. Broken people are great in bed.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Which,
I love a broken person.
it's a really tough topic because, hey, we're all kind of fucked up, man.
I would say tread carefully,
Yeah.
use the signs and or the information that has been disclosed.
Yeah.
If you have someone that's being honest with you from the get-go, they've been in an abusive relationship, they just got out of one, I would ask questions. And you should be able to decide whether this person is going to be eager to get the help they need.
That's right.
Talking to somebody. When I was younger, I wasn't the most easy child.
Right.
I come from a family of divorce, but I didn't have a abusive home where
Right.
my dad and my mom were
Drug addicts. And,
cussing at each other,
Right.
fighting. I mean, I can only remember one real big, explosive, fuck you,
Yeah.
no, fuck you. So it was pretty much hidden from us, but they did have to sit us down and say that, they were getting a divorce. And
Right.
I was going to live with mom, and me and my brother were, and, dad was going to come on the weekends, and my dad did. He didn't leave us. Compared to some, that's Little House on the fucking prairie.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of what a good divorce would look like.
Yeah.
Dad didn't say, oh, fuck you, and marry someone else and forget about my brother and I. I was having trouble in school, and I had to go talk to a psychiatrist and a counselor, and I was in a group session too. And at that time, I hated it.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying for it. My parents were.
Right.
And I'm not fucked up because of it. I wasn't fucked up then, I don't think, by it. I understood that, okay, well, while it is sad that my parents are divorcing, it's sad. It's going to be different.
Right.
But I kind of was of the mindset that, okay, y'all aren't happy together.
Yeah.
So go be happy apart.
Yeah. And then to define happiness. That's just it. What you just described, I think, is a big part of the trauma that you go through as a young person, because it puts you in a situation where you have to verbalize that and understand that your parents are going to live separate lives. And so what does that mean for you? I mean, you're still going to live with your parents, but it also separates you from the family unit in a way where it's like, well, hey, I guess I've got my own life to live too. I'm not happy either with this bullshit. I'm going to do what makes me happy. And then you become rebellious, right?
Right.
My parents weren't divorced, so I didn't go through that. I mean, thankfully, although, just like you said, if it would have been better for them, then
go do it. Current day, I wish I had somebody paying for a psychiatrist. That might be something I explore in the future.
I'm here for you.
Thank
That's
you.
what this show is all about.
Right. Okay. Should I lay down on the couch now?
I'm going to put on some soothing music.
Oh, thank you. And ask me how that made me feel.
No, it's interesting you say this, because I've dealt with a lot of trauma in other areas, and I have sought help. And I found and paid for it on my own nickel and didn't tell anybody about it. And dude, I mean, to me, it's like all of the help that I sought, eventually I felt like it was just a sales pitch.
Really?
Yeah. The first couple sessions are great because you just get to pour your heart out. And then after that, it's like, I don't really want to go talk to this person, right? Like,
Well, do you think that might be because you didn't find the right person that you connected with, that you liked?
And I mean, I'm still open to talking or dealing with anybody.
Well, Ben, let me be your psychiatrist. Now let's reverse roles. Why
Yes.
don't you lay down and I'll put on some soothing music.
Okay.
And you can tell me your
We can
inner
get two
demons.
couches.
Yeah, we can. How about we just both lay down together, like separate, but together.
On two different couches.
On two different
at
couches.
the same time.
Right. And we'll put on soothing music and see what happens.
Yeah.
See where the road
You just
takes
speak
us.
up when you want to say what you want to say. Fuck you, Mom!
How did that make you feel? Oh my God, that's kind of funny. But getting back to what I was saying though,
Not my mom, I was saying.
no,
you know.
no, not you. Have somebody that was non-biased.
Yeah.
That I could get a different perspective on maybe the way I act sometimes or react sometimes. I'm just after this, I might have just talked myself into therapy.
You may have.
Maybe.
So we appreciate email
Yes.
because it even caused us to reflect upon ourselves.
And how much of a loser.
How fucked up we are. Our poor wives married us. We don't know what to tell you other than we're lucky we got married.
Yeah. Good luck. So I want to shift gears and I want to tell a story, an unsolved mystery. I'm going to title it, Where the Fuck is Aunt Melba?
Oh, this is at your home.
This is where ManFUzed changes genres and goes true crime. Now, let me paint this picture.
Okay.
I'm not going to give out too many of the details right now. I am waiting on the investigator, the detective,
Right.
to see if he will relinquish to me all of his case files.
Yeah.
Because he has been unable to crack the case.
Interesting.
When I moved into my neighborhood about 6.5 years ago, I became friends with all the people in my cul-de-sac. If you are not from this country, you might not have cul-de-sacs in your neighborhoods in your area. But I live in a neighborhood that has its own entrance.
Cul-de-sac is a circle at the end of a road where you can turn around and go the other way.
Correct.
And
Thank you,
it
Ben.
accommodates more homes around the circle. So it's a micro neighborhood in and of itself.
Correct.
The
Thank
cul-de-sac.
You. Thank you. The cul-de-sac. I
Real
just
estate,
like it
you know.
because it's got
I do this
sack
all day.
at the end. Yeah. Yeah. Ben is a real estate mogul. He's a coxman and a crooner.
And I'm great at verbalizing what a cul-de-sac is.
So I live at the back of the neighborhood
Yeah.
in the dead center of the sack, the
Right.
cul-de-sac. So I befriended a lot of my neighbors. One guy I became really close with, I think it was after a year of living there, he was telling me about the former owners, I guess if you're looking at my house to the left of me, our property borders.
Yeah.
It used to be occupied by these two gay guys.
Right.
And they lived there for a few years. One of the gentlemen had an aunt that came and lived with him, Aunt Melba.
Interesting.
Aunt Melba lived there for a number of years.
In the basement?
Yes, I guess she lived in the basement.
Okay.
From what I was told. And my neighbor who has lived here through many homeowners coming and going said that he saw her a few times and then he no longer saw her.
At all.
At all. Apparently the guys moved out, broke up, separated, and left. About a year after they left, and my timeline might not be exact, detectives showed up to the cul-de-sac, knocking on doors, asking if they had seen, Aunt Melba.
Aunt Melba.
Because Aunt Melba had disappeared.
Wow.
But yet her pension checks from the railroad company where she had worked for many years continued to get cashed.
Interesting.
So I was told this information and I was like, well, that's kind of fucking freaky. Now, the previous owners now, because they had moved and separated, one had gone to jail for making meth and the other one had moved out to California, from what I heard.
Interesting.
So they were questioned about the whereabouts of Aunt Melba.
Yes.
Because the railroad company was looking at their books.
Right.
Going, wow, Aunt Melba is about 100 years old.
Wow.
We need to send her some form of letter that was requesting, almost demanding a response, but very nicely, like,
of course,
congratulations, you are 100 years old. You are our oldest pension receiver.
We'd like to give you an award.
Yeah.
Please respond.
Please respond in a way saying, are you fucking still alive?
Are you alive or not?
Right.
Like, what's happening?
Right. Of course, Aunt Melba doesn't respond. So they say Aunt Melba, who had been suffering from some dementia, decided one day to walk out the front door and walk out the neighborhood.
Never came back.
Never came back. No one went to look for Aunt Melba?
You think she's still riding in that VW van? Cross country?
I mean, I don't know.
Doubtful. How old would she be now?
106.
She'd be long gone.
But what I'm saying is, if she did decide to walk out the neighborhood and disappeared into thin air, well, there'd be a Jane Doe. There would be a body somewhere.
Right.
I just did a Google search on her, and she shows up as 106 years old.
Wow.
Past addresses, but there's no obituary. There's no deceased. There's no body. I went on, fast forward a little bit. I was told the story.
Yeah.
And about a year and a half ago, I get a knock on my door from the detective. The detective...
Freaky.
...is asking us questions.
Yeah.
We didn't live there the last time. The detective tells me that they want to bring a cadaver dog out.
To your house.
And to my neighbor's house.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
This is the second time a cadaver dog has been out to these properties looking...
Interesting.
for the body of Aunt Melba.
Now, how would a cadaver dog be able to smell her body so long after a potential burying?
Fucking great question.
I mean, like,
Ben.
what is it, 10 years have gone by or whatever?
It's a fucking great question
Yeah.
because on the day the cadaver dog came out, I was fucking enthralled and curious as a motherfucker. So I went and spoke to the dog's handler.
Yeah.
Because I have questions.
Yeah, of course.
If Aunt Melba is buried.
Right. In your backyard.
Or because our yards adjoin.
Yeah.
What are the signs? What is the dog going to do if the dog smells a body or a cadaver? Well, the dog sits down.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a dog does when they smell drugs.
Yeah.
They're supposed to sit.
That's the signal.
That is the signal. He also told me I'm like, well, how far down can the dog smell? If you bury a body in the dirt and grass starts to grow, plants start to grow, a tree starts to grow, it will have the scent of the cadaver
Oh, my God.
on the tree.
That's disgusting.
As-
And beautiful at the same time.
But yeah.
It makes me want to plant an oak on my grave.
Right. So they
Live
can
as an
smell
oak.
me. Right. They can smell me. But isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So the dog
That
will
is.
pick up on the scent of what has grown there
Wow.
because there was a body buried in the soil.
That's amazing.
So the dog went through the house. Now, there has been some additions added on to this home. But the dog can smell through the fucking concrete. I mean, it could be like, I don't know that there is a time constraint when the scent of a cadaver
Yeah.
will be embedded in everything. I went on air because I'm part of a morning radio show that's
Right.
syndicated, and we're always needing content. And
Yeah.
so when I found out a cadaver dog was coming to my house
Yeah.
to sniff around,
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, there could be a dead body next to me, somewhere buried.
Right.
So I talked about it on the radio. Well, I get an email from a woman whose daughter and her were riding in the car and heard this segment of
Wow.
me talking about it.
Wow.
And she said to herself, this sounds exactly like a property that I leased to a gay guy that had just broken up from
No
his
way.
boyfriend
What?
years ago, who had an aunt that
That's
was going to
nuts.
come live with him, but she never met the aunt.
Wow.
Sent me this long email. She said the coincidence is
Too close.
it's too close.
Yeah.
I take the email and I forward it to the detective who had just been at my house. Well, the detective follows up, brings the cadaver dog out to the property
Yeah.
that she owned,
Right.
which was multiple acres,
Yeah.
somewhere north of here.
Yeah.
Turned up nothing.
Right.
So that is where the mystery ended. Now, the detective, the last time I spoke with him, I forwarded him that. He had followed up. I hadn't heard anything since.
Right.
But the haunting and the whereabouts of
haven't
Aunt
forgotten
Melba,
about it.
I can't stop thinking about sweet old Aunt
Aunt
Melba.
Melba.
Now, I don't know Aunt Melba. Aunt Melba could have been a bitch.
You never know.
But in my mind, Aunt Melba, the sweetest aunt you could imagine.
Watching Wheel of Fortune,
What the fuck did they do with Aunt Melba's
smoking
body?
Virginia Slims.
Because pension checks kept coming and they kept cashing them.
Could track that aspect.
Well, they did. I contacted the detective and I said, hey,
Yeah.
this is who I am. Do you remember you came out to my place? I wanted to get an update,
Right.
see if anything has happened in the case.
Yeah.
He regretfully informed me that nothing has happened.
Right.
That last he heard, the feds were considering pressing charges about the pension fraud.
Right.
Ultimately, he might serve a few years,
Yeah.
possibly for that if they pursued it.
Right.
But as far as Aunt Melba came, there's been nothing.
Nothing at all.
And I said, well, listen, if you haven't made any headway, and this is a cold case, we don't know where Aunt Melba's body is, will you release the information you have gathered?
Right.
Timelines.
Yeah.
Things of that nature that I could talk about on my podcast.
Right.
Talk about on our radio show.
Yeah.
Revisit it with more facts that I have.
Yes. More color.
Ben H and I on ManFUzed want to find Aunt Melba.
Melba. I wonder where she is.
That's what I'm saying. They did something with her.
No doubt.
There's no
The
doubt.
guy that's cashing the pension checks did it.
I think the other guy, his partner.
He
at
might
the-
have been the one that actually did it. He's the one making meth.
Well, could have been a joint effort. They
Did
were
you ever see
living together.
Breaking Bad?
Of course.
How they dissolved bodies in vats of acid that was
Well, and if I'm not mistaken,
used to make
and I
meth
could
or
be
whatever?
wrong, the one guy who was put in jail for meth was some form of chemist.
done. Aunt Melba was dissolved in a barrel, like on Breaking Bad.
Could be.
And
They-
dumped out.
Or they could have buried her.
Yeah, but a chemist wouldn't bury someone. They would know about the cadaver dog.
So my goal of this, and you know what? We are not investigators, but we are smart
Yet.
yet. But what I'm saying is that time of talking about it on air
Yeah.
produced a lead.
Yeah.
bringing this back with more facts,
Right.
names, dates, could sum up another lead.
Yes.
The property where I live, where we are sitting right now, many years ago, behind me, wasn't developed.
Mm-hmm.
It was all land.
Right. It makes me wonder how many cases there are out there like this that are just dead ends.
Cold cases.
Just I'm talking murder cases.
That's what tons.
Like, we know the people are missing. We know who probably did it, but we can't prove it.
Because we can't find their body.
Can't find their body. We've interviewed the people. Their story's their story.
Well, they're broke up. They probably hate each other now.
Yeah.
If they disposed of the body together, well, they are in that together. Because if one goes down, the other one's going down for murder.
Yeah.
So regardless if one's in jail and one's not,
Yeah.
they're not going to come up with that.
See, if I was the detective, I'd go to the meth guy and be like, look, we know you did the shit, but you're not the one that's been cashing the checks. But guess what? You are in jail for meth, so I'm going to cut you a deal. You testify, tell us what happened. You won't be charged with murder, and we'll let you out.
I'm sure they've gone that route. I mean, I would think. You know what? I can question the detective.
Maybe we could call the detective and ask him.
Maybe we should dial
Let's
him
call
up
him
right now. So my goal, hopefully he was going to check with his superiors
Yeah.
to see if they could release some information to me
Yeah.
to where we might be able to put it out to the community
Yeah.
on the radio with the show I'm a part of and on our podcast.
Somebody should be Aunt Melba for Halloween. Dude, you should have a party called Aunt Melba's Halloween Party.
Oh, we could. We're celebrating Aunt Melba.
I mean, dude, Aunt Melba needs to be,
we need to put her on a
dude,
pedestal.
that is a cool thing. You could do Aunt Melba's
Halloween. Aunt Melba's Freaktacular.
Yeah.
Spooktacular. This is an Aunt Melba thing.
Yeah.
So we want justice for Aunt Melba.
Right.
This is an unsolved mystery. And you know what? It doesn't matter where in the globe you are. If you have something similar, you have a story about
Unsolved mystery.
that you want to share with us, I don't care how crazy it is.
Yeah.
We'll check it out. Please let us know. Hit us up at ManFUzed.com. We thank you for your time, and we thank you for listening. Share the show.
See you later. Out.